anesthesiologist. Yeah, no. I mean, I was being probably I was probably exaggerating. However, he was very attractive, and I was like, yeah, yes, please. Can that be not on my checklist? Thank you. Yeah, I'm like, I'll take Bertha, Gertrude.
What's your goals this year? I'm like, my goal is to get the
It's a great one. Oh gosh, I don't know. I just feel like if we don't laugh about it and talk about it, it's just one of those things we have to have done. It's not fun, but
yeah, you're so much better afterwards than you're like,
yeah.
My husband has this like I had to get in the middle of the night to take it back.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to do it. He did it. But when we got there, they took him back.
That's 5. 1, that's 5, that's 5.
So he had to come back in 30 days.
Apple Watch says 5.
My phone says.
So the day before when I did it, it hurt my stomach so bad. Oh my god, I was dying. I'm like, what is going on? Oh. No, we're done. We're good.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Tiffany, please take the roll.
Councilwoman Garvey.
Present.
Councilman Harjo.
Present.
Councilwoman Workala.
Present.
Councilman Brennan.
Present.
Mayor Sykes.
Present, let the record reflect we do have a quorum for Tuesday, March 25th, 2025 at 5. We're going to run down to presentation with number 1, presentation with Lost Pause TNR program. Come on down.
Hello.
Will you guys just state your name real fast?
Sorry.
So we know
Beverly
the
King.
voice?
Shannon Evans.
Thank you.
And then
Floor's yours.
Okay.
Yep.
Good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Beverly King, and I'm here today alongside my fellow board member, Shannon Evans. We are grateful for the opportunity to address you once again regarding the importance of amending the city ordinances to allow us to participate in trap, neuter, return within city limits. As you may recall, we were here in November and December speaking to you about this issue. Since then, we continue to work very hard on this cause, and we have several statements from organizations that have had great success with TNR and animal rescue to read to you today. Some of them were already included in your packets that we turned in last week, and they will show their valuable insights and experiences, and we believe their contributions will highlight the potential benefits of the TNR for the community. Thank you for your time and consideration. We look forward to discussing how we can work together to improve the welfare of the animals in our city.
And I just have a few additional letters that were written after we dropped off the packets. Can I give these to all of you?
Bet.
Okay. So they're kind of sorted. My name is Shannon Evans, and I'm here today once again to address the ongoing issue of feral and stray cats in Mountain Home and the importance of trap, neuter, return efforts in our community. We come before you today to respectfully request clarification on whether the city ordinances cited in the Chief of Police's letter to you, specifically 664B and 6613, apply to TNR programs. As our shelter manager Janelle pointed out, Ordinance 664B limits the number of cats to 3 per household, while 6613 addresses the issue of animals running at large, which includes feral cats running loose. We seek to understand whether these ordinances were written specifically for feral and stray cats that are unowned, or if they are meant to address family pets. In his letter, the chief also stated that we will be releasing more cats into the elements. I do not understand this comment because if we trap 6 cats, take them to be spayed and neutered, and return them to the same location, we are not releasing more cats. It's the same number of cats that were already there, only now they will be fixed, preventing further overpopulation. Additionally, the chief raised concerns about who feeds and cares for these cats. I want to make it clear that we are not trapping random cats and then dumping them back onto the streets. these cats have caretakers, individuals who are already providing food, water, shelter, and care for them. That is precisely why these caretakers reached out to our organization in the first place, to help manage the population in a humane way through TNR. These caretakers are dedicated to the well-being of the cats, and we work alongside them to ensure the cats are taken care of. Furthermore, there was mention in the chief's letter about these cats being housed or adopted. I want to clarify that the majority of the cats we are working with are not tame. They are not adoptable. However, the cats that do turn out to be strays and not feral, there are a large number of them, are removed from the colonies, placed into foster care, and either adopted out or sent to rescues in the Treasure Valley. Just over the last 2 months, I have personally fostered 5 cats and kittens that were taken from a colony and found to be adoptable. I would also like to address the chief's comment about trapping on private property. We are not the ones setting the traps ourselves. The caretakers who live on the private property and have applied for TNR are the ones setting the traps. We loan the traps, transport the cats to the vet, return them, and cover the costs of these services. In rare cases, such as when someone is elderly or disabled, we will assist them with setting the traps. However, in 99% of the cases, the caretakers are handling this themselves. In those 1% of cases, we absolutely are invited there and have full approval to assist them. Many people in our community have submitted letters to you expressing their strong support for our program and their concerns about not being able to continue helping with TNR within city limits if these ordinances are not amended. Their voices reflect the growing need for responsible, humane solutions to address the feral stray cat population in Mountain Home. We are not asking for funding from the city, although that would be greatly appreciated. Our request is simply to be permitted to continue our efforts in helping these poor cats and kittens who did not deserve nor ask to be in this position in the first place. If we are not allowed to continue, we respectfully ask, what is the city's plan, along with animal control, to help these cats? As we stated in December, there is only one humane approach to help them, and that is through TNR. If these ordinances do apply to TNR efforts, we respectfully request that they be amended to allow for continued work on this critical issue. As I have shared before, TNR is a humane and effective solution to controlling the feral stray cat population, which benefits both the animals and our community as a whole. Today I will read letters from several people in our surrounding communities who support TNR and wish to share why they believe the program is so vital. The first letter that I would like to read is from the CEO of the Idaho Humane Society. Dear Elmore County, as the oldest and largest animal welfare nonprofit in Idaho, the Idaho Humane Society is deeply committed to supporting innovative and effective initiatives that enhance the well-being of animals in our community. One such initiative is Trap, Neuter, Return, also known as Return to Field, which is a cornerstone of our community cat program. The Community Cat Program is an essential component of our life-saving efforts for cats in Idaho. Through this program, we offer a humane and proactive approach to managing community cat populations while ensuring the welfare of individual cats. Eligible cats that come into our shelter's care are carefully evaluated and, if they meet the program's criteria, are spayed and neutered, vaccinated, and ear-tipped for easy identification. These cats are then returned to their original outdoor locations where they can continue to live healthy lives. Animals diagnosed with incurable illnesses are compassionately and humanely euthanized to prevent unnecessary suffering. TNR/RTF has been demonstrated to be one of the most effective and humane strategies for managing free-roaming cat populations. By stabilizing these populations and preventing the birth of additional litters, this program contributes to a healthier and more sustainable environment for both cats and the communities they inhabit. This approach reflects our do no harm philosophy by providing positive live outcomes for community cats, while also addressing the broader goal of reducing cat colony populations over time. We are proud to support and collaborate with other community members and nonprofits across the state who are dedicated to TNR efforts. Together, we can amplify our collective impact, improving the lives of cats and strengthening the bonds within our communities. We highly recommend that you allow nonprofits in your community to continue this work to prevent pet overpopulation and community health efforts. Thank you for your support and dedication to animal welfare. I just have a couple more. This one is from a lady she's from Bowling Green, Kentucky. I manage a community cat program in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We serve the whole area but focus our targeted TNR on the city limits. Our program is a service of the only humane society shelter in our county. From 2019 to the end of 2023, we reduced cat euthanasia at our shelter by 64%. Our live outcomes are now well above the no-kill standard of 90%. Most importantly, we reduced stray intakes to our shelter by 56% overall and reduced stray intakes from the city limits by 116%. Emily Ray Cothran. To whom it may concern, my name is Luann Gaskell. I am the Vice President of Operation Community Cats in Meridian, Idaho. I am co-founder of two very successful nonprofit spay-neuter organizations and a former lead volunteer with the Idaho Humane Society's Spot Spay-Neuter program. Feral cats are my specialty. I've saved thousands and prevented hundreds of thousands of unwanted kittens from being born over the past 20 years. My understanding is that trap-neuter return is currently against city ordinance since it is considered abandonment to release cats after desexing, as is cats roaming at large. I see several issues with these ordinances. 1, who has the capacity to police cats roaming at large, and what will the cost be to the city? 2, what will happen to the cats roaming at large? What about pet cats that accidentally escape the confines of their home or yard, as happens with dogs? Feral cats are typically unowned cats that are too wild to live indoors. Will there be a paid employee to trap the city's wild cats? Why is humanely trapping cats, having them spayed, neutered, and released where they were found considered a problem? Is it preferable to have more free-roaming cats? This is what will happen without TNR volunteers. It seems that a volunteer effort to reduce the number of free-roaming cats is superior to any method of paying employees to do the same time-consuming work. Feral cats become a nuisance if the population is not spayed or neutered. Cats are a benefit to keeping rodent populations down if the colonies are managed through TNR. That being said, removing all cats from the city would result in unintended consequences. TNR is acceptable and preferable practice adopted by animal welfare organizations all across the United States, including Alley Cat Allies, Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, ASPCA, Humane Society of the United States, and others. The Treasure Valley has established TNR as the norm for reducing the number of free-roaming cats and has the added benefit of reducing the number of unwanted animals in our shelters. It is a win-win at no cost to the city or the county. It's free animal control by people who care about the welfare of animals. I encourage you to adopt city policies that promote positive actions towards animals in need, to prevent suffering, and to reduce the number of nuisance animals through volunteer efforts. Perhaps the city should allocate funds to local veterinarians to lessen the financial burden of volunteer trappers. Humane, cost-effective solutions benefit everyone. And I just have a couple more. They're pretty short. They're actually from a couple people in our community here in Mountain Home. I have been involved in the TNR program 20 plus years in 4 different states and countless cities. Numbers in the cat colonies have, without fail, dropped substantially. In some cases, the colonies have dissolved altogether. This process not only accounts for the prevention of thousands of kittens being born, but also the spread of disease. The TNR approach has been adopted by many educated cities worldwide, including our close neighbor, Boise. It's time for Mountain Home to step up and into humane reality. Thank you, Linda Telford. I, Cassandra Wickard, believe that this town could benefit from TNR. We have an overpopulation of feral cats, and this will not only bring down numbers, but it will also take away the stresses of trying to find these cats homes. All adoption agencies are overfilled, and something needs to be done. I hope you take into consideration the good that it would do and make it a priority. Thank you. So we weren't sure if you had some questions for us regarding TNR, regarding our mission, or what our goals are, or how to proceed from here.
Council, do you have any questions? No questions?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand this correctly.
Yes.
So, if a person is taking on feral cats and they're choosing to bring these cats into their home area, why can't they take on the responsibility of spaying and or neutering that cat or said cats?
Yeah, so essentially, most of these caretakers, they will have a cat show up in their yard. They're hungry, they're thirsty, they need shelter. Say it's winter time. They'll create an environment for them to take care of them because, like I said before, in December, you can't outlaw compassion. There are people, whether it's an elderly lady or, just a single guy, we know one that cares for a colony. They take in those cats, they start feeding them, they start caring for them. Some of them are not fixed. Next thing you know, she has babies. Oh, another cat that's homeless. There's food over there. They show up. Next thing you know, you have a little colony going on. So these caretakers are trying to be responsible for them. It's very expensive to buy traps, and it's also very expensive to get them fixed. So a lot of these people, and they're not educated on how to go about it. So that's what our organization is for. We just loan them the traps, show them how to TNR. You put the food in the back of the trap, you set it, and then we help pay for it so that we're taking that burden off of these caretakers. Some of these caretakers are elderly people that are on Social Security, and they can't afford to pay hundreds of dollars to get these cats fixed, nor can they drive them, to get them fixed. So it's basically a service that we're doing for the community and for these caretakers. But they are responsible for them, and that's why they're reaching out to us for help, if that makes sense. Did that answer your question?
Yes, so, Mayor,
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to figure out why, and I apologize, I'm just trying to figure out why, about changing our ordinance, what is any different than you guys taking a cat that is a feral cat? Why does the city need to change its ordinance? You can just bring it to the vet? Can you not?
So this is
And
where...
so I'm like, this
Yes.
isn't driving with me here.
Absolutely, and I'll explain what took place very short, the shortened version. So I have personally been doing TNR in Mountain Home, county and city, for years. Beverly and I were previously a part of another nonprofit, and I ran the TNR program, and we spayed and neutered, I believe, approximately 250 feral cats. In October of last year, the board came to me and Beverly and said that they were told by law enforcement that we were no longer allowed to provide the service because it's illegal. It's a criminal act, basically, because it's illegal according to these ordinances. So we were like, what? We were shocked, honestly, because I had been doing this for 2 years with this nonprofit and I had never heard such a thing. And so that's why Beverly and I initially came here late last year and said, do these ordinances apply, and are we doing something criminal? We're just trying to ensure that we're in compliance with the law and that we're working with law enforcement in our community. We don't want to go out and do this and be given citations. We've been told by the animal control manager that we will be given citations for taking them to the vet and bringing them back and returning them. We were told we could trap them and go get them fixed, but we can't return them. There is nowhere to take them. They're not adoptable. They can't be taken into our homes to be fostered.
So is the part of the, and my apologies, I have not read this specific ordinance. As part of the ordinance, so you can trap them, you can neuter them, but you just can't release them.
You can't bring them back.
So that's the part of the ordinance that needs to be looked at. So, okay. All right.
That's what we were told, that we can trap them and fix them, but we can't bring them back. The problem is there's nowhere for them to go. There are feral sanctuaries all over the United States and in several other countries, but they're full. I mean, returning them to their colony where they have a caretaker, where they can be cared for and not have any more babies, is the most humane thing that you can do. They know their surroundings. And so that's just what we're trying to do, is make sure that we're permitted to be able to continue our work.
In those packets that we gave you, the from Alley Cats and the other ones, it talks about the vacuum effect, and that causes a lot of problems too. When you take them out, they're only going to fill back up with other feral cats.
Okay.
Mayor. Councilman Harjo.
Beverly and Shannon, I got a couple questions. I was a portion of the group of council people and staff that helped rewrite 6-6 of city ordinances. During that rewrite, we went extensively through state law, comparing to other municipalities around the state, and made really concerted effort to make sure that this city was in alignment with the rest of the state in that way. And during that research and during those discussions, before even bringing those edits back to the council, I went through every bit of my notes, and I could not find any reference to an ordinance within the state that promotes the release in that sense. It's referenced in state code. Our ordinances define a number of things that are in conflict with animals at large. Nuisance animals, for one. A use case for that might be the downtown corridor, where there are a lot of feral cats running in that area at large. There's no defined owner. Somebody is clearly feeding them, or they're surviving off of nature itself. But several businesses around there complain frequently of the smell of cat urine, piling up of cat feces. There's a lot of restaurants in that area. And that, with nuisances, that is a factor. Land use is a weird thing for a city to have to deal with, but nuisances are a big topic when it comes to land use and defining whose property rights are what. So in the cases that these cats do get re-released to the areas that they're found, it's a very unilateral decision where the neighboring properties don't get a say in the matter, right? Those animals may be seen as nuisances to them, tearing up their gardens, eating their chickens, what have you, right? Like any host of things. And that's really the crux of this scenario for me in a lot of ways. Secondarily, the one-time instance of trapping, neuter, and then release, there's other connotation that go along with that, right? Vaccination is one of them, and that is a big part. However, the ongoing care from the moment that the cat would be released back to its territorial colony, the maintenance of health beyond that point is also a concern. Can you tell me more about your experience in the maintenance as far as that goes? Like, does your program deal with the ongoing maintenance of, hey, this cat is ill, that is after it's already been neutered and released, like now we have a sick or injured cat? Like, can you help us understand what your policy and practice is with that?
Yeah, first I'd like to address the nuisance issue, which I completely sympathize with and understand. And I sympathize with the business owners. The alternative to not fixing them, though, is that you've got a colony, say you've got 10 cats downtown. Now you've got, if half of them are females and they have 6 babies, now you've got 30 kittens on top of the ones that are there. So it becomes a bigger nuisance. But I do understand what you're saying with that. Somehow, I don't know the state laws. I don't study this. I don't know a lot about the ordinances. It's just not something that I've put a lot of effort into, but I'm willing to. Somehow with those state ordinances and laws, other cities surrounding here, including Boise and Garden City and Meridian, they have adopted TNR programs. So I do believe there is a way, even with the nuisance issue or those problems that may arise, that there is a way to work through that, because other cities here in Idaho have done that. As far as the ongoing care for colonies, the colonies that we are helping with have caretakers. We get calls all the time. I just got a call last night from a lady who has a controlled colony, but she just had a pregnant cat show up to her controlled colony. So she called me last night. She said, I can pet her. She's tame. What can you do? So I immediately started reaching out to rescues, and tomorrow morning I'm going to get her, and I'm getting her into a foster in Boise to remove her because she's pregnant. So she's in need, and then we don't want her to have any more babies. As far as sick cats go in colonies, I get calls all the time from these colony caretakers that I've built relationships with. I've got a cat here. They seem to have upper respiratory. Their eyes are gunky. Is there anything you could do? We go out, we trap them, we take them to a couple different vets we work with. We get them treated. If they're very, very ill, we follow the Humane Society's recommendation, which is euthanasia. And it is a sad decision to make, but we've had to personally make it multiple times. I've had to make it in the colonies that I care for, where you go over there one day to feed and you notice one of them is skinny and they're struggling, and so you trap them, you take them to the vet, and you humanely euthanize them, because none of us want to see an animal suffer. So as far as these colony caretakers, you know, caretaking for them and them getting sick or having any problems, typically all of the caretakers that I've ever encountered stay on top of that. There's also an antibiotic you can put in their food. There's other natural products you can put in their food to keep them healthy, which I do deliver to colony caretakers. I order them through Amazon. So the cat's health is a priority for us, and most of the colony caretakers that I've encountered, it's a priority for them as well. Oh, and I want to adjust one more thing. The vaccines. When I was with the previous group, it was voted on the board not to pay for the vaccines. So we were fixing them, but they all were not getting vaccinated. Our new group that we have formed, we are vaccinating all of the cats that get fixed. So that is one service that we are providing.
Council, do you have any other questions? Chief or Danelle, do you have anything that you'd like to bring forward, or not at this time, or talk to us later?
Mayor,
Councilman Brennan?
one question. When she uses the phrase controlled colony, that sounds like ownership to me. Would you disagree with that? If it's controlled, it's a colony, you're feeding it, it sounds like ownership until the point that you re-abandon the animal.
So controlled colony is a phrase that rescuers and trappers use to say that I started with this colony and nobody was fixed. There's 20 of them, and now all 20 of them are fixed. It's controlled, it's sustained. There's not going to be any more babies. That's what controlled means.
Councilman Brennan, did you hear that?
Yeah, I got it. Thank you.
Mayor.
Here, one second.
Go ahead.
Councilwoman Workla?
Yeah, hi. I just want to ask last pause to hopefully stay to the end of the meeting. Don't leave after your presentation. I do have something I want to get on the agenda, and I'll state that at final comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Garvey?
So, and I think, yeah, if we are going to look into this, we need to look at several things. The definition of a feral cat is a domestic cat that is not under the control nor cared for by any person, which has been returned to a wild or semi-wild state. A feral animal may or may not be owned by a person. That's very unclear to me. Can a person own a feral cat? Should they not own a feral cat? So, I mean, I definitely think there's some room for clearing up R and whether it be to do TNR or not, but that doesn't make any sense. And that's under the 6-1.
And if I may, I have one more question to something that Scott had mentioned about the nuisance. So you've stated that, you know, businesses are complaining because of cat urine and, you know, these problems that you have with large colonies of cats. In that circumstance, what are the business owners doing? Are they calling the animal shelter and having the animal shelter come out and trap and humanely euthanize? And are they doing catch and kill? Or is nothing being done? That's, I guess, another concern is they're a nuisance, and people get cruel with cats because of them being a nuisance. But is something being done when those people are frustrated, and what is being done? Are they being trapped, and are they being taken to their shelter, and are they being euthanized? Or are they just being left there to have more kittens? And that's where we feel that the TNR is a solution to some of that, if that makes sense.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
on the animal cruelty note, that was actually one of the areas that the work group put a significant amount of thought into the verbiage to write a very comprehensive animal cruelty ordinance, right? So those are forbidden acts by our own code, right? So that's certainly not something that we're promoting by any means. So I hope you'll accept that as one of the key factors that we worked on, was understanding that cruelty to animals does and has happened, and this code section was specifically intended to help prevent that and to provide some enforceability behind that.
Absolutely. And we do appreciate that. The animal lovers in this community and the animal rescuers, we do appreciate the time and effort that was put into that.
All right, council, anything else? All right, well, thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right. Run down to recognized persons in the audience. Anybody like to give up? Come on down.
Do I need to sign in?
No,
Oh, how you doing?
just state your name.
Yes. Okay, so my name's Tyler Merriman, and I actually really like the T and I love the R, but the fact that they're talking about releasing them back into the community, I'm all for the T and the N portion of it. But I mean, we've got cat allergies in our home. And over the last year, we've seen more and more feral cats in our community, in our backyard. One of them tried attacking our dog in our dog's backyard, and our dog is very, it almost pains me to say it, she's very, very timid and everything, and I would have rather she stood up for herself, but this cat basically chased her back into the house because it thought it owned our backyard. So the fact that we have cat allergies, we've got more and more cats in our community. We just bought some really nice patio furniture, and the other day I look out there and there's a cat sitting on our brand new upholstery. So I guess my wonderment is, like, if we allow this and if we amend this to be like, okay, yeah, we're going to sanction just releasing them back into the community. I mean, who's going to be responsible? I mean, we have cat feces in our garden, in our flower pots. We had a big old turd right on our patio, which I really found odd too. And it's like, come on, people. So, sorry, I tried to take a few notes. You had very nice prepared statements, by the way. So, aggressive toward the dog. So, the other thing is, and we've already brought it up with the city, and I think the individuals in question have been cited, but we've physically verified and documented we have people from outside of our residential area coming in and putting out food bowls for feral cats, and it's just, it's like I said, it seems like the occurrences of cats. I mean, I can look out our kitchen window, and I would bet a month's paycheck I could document at least 6 to 10 feral cats around our neighborhood, outside the fence where the people were putting food and everything. And it just strikes me as odd that, you know, our compassionate good Samaritans are coming into neighborhoods putting out food for cat. Now, granted, my understanding of the situation is those individuals have been cited because they were breaking city law, but it just encourages more cats into the neighborhood. And like I said, over the past 12 to 18 months, we've seen more and more and more cats. And speaking to your animal cruelty thing, if we get more cats, you know, with our cat allergies, with them trying to take over our lawn and our dog and everything else, it's like you're going to force community members to take matters into their own hands. And I'm not anti-cat. I do have a cat allergy, but I love pets. I have no ill will towards any pets, but boy, if they're going to start trashing, you know, your patio furniture, attacking your dog, and it just, you know, with pet allergies, you can't even go out and enjoy your patio area because you have pet dander, cat dander, potentially urine on these patio furnitures, and it just, to me, it's unacceptable. I love the trap, I love the neuter, but it's my understanding that there's some landowners, dairies, farmers, and everything. I know I grew up in rural Montana. They loved having cats there because mice start to eat into saddlery and tack and everything else. They had, you know, loads of stray cat, well, feral, whatever you want to call them, I don't care. But it seems to me like farmers and ranchers love having cats around because they keep the rodent population down. Because rodents, they chew through wires, cables, and everything else. Like I said, they love saddlery and tack for horses. So to hear them say that nobody in the community wants cats, I know for a fact that there's landowners, farmers, ranchers, dairies, they'd love to have cats out there. So if we trapped and neutered and relocated somewhere else in a community or an environment where they want them, I'm all for that 100%. But the fact that we are planning or proposing that we're going to trap, neuter, and just release them again, that doesn't work for me, my property, or my allergies, or my daughter's allergies, and it's like, that to me is unacceptable. And if we allow this, then what do we do for, if we're allowing a cat, why not a dog? What if somebody's goat gets out of their lawn? Can we just, let's just spade, neuter it, and we'll just release it? It's like, why is a cat an exception where nothing else is? So that's my thing. And again, I apologize. I'm not anti-cat. I don't hate cats. But it's like, come on. I don't want just a bunch of feral animals on my property. Sorry. So, I think that's it for me.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Can I speak for 3 minutes again, or am I not allowed?
You can come do your 3 minutes.
So I did just want to address he does have a point with the barn homes and with the farmers and stuff around here. My organization, as well as I know 2 other organizations here, we do actively look for barn homes for these feral cats, and very rarely do we find them, but when we do, we will fix them, give them the vaccines, and take them to a barn home. So I just wanted to make that clear that we do try to find barn homes. It is very difficult to find them. The Humane Society has a barn cat program, but they also have a facility where they hold the feral cats until they're able to release them. But I do want to make it clear that I'm actively looking for a barn home for a lady's feral cats because she has cancer and has months to live, and she's trying to find somewhere for them to go live. And so we are always looking for good barn homes that will feed and water and shelter them. So that is a top priority for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to run down to conflict of interest. Council, has any council member received information pertaining to?
Is there,
Yes, sir.
yeah, recognize, have we all done with that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on down.
Something else to say here.
I'm sorry. I looked up, I was waiting. And
No, I was listening to the cat discussion.
come on down.
And I think the fellow's point was well taken, but I would say that he actually answered his own question. You're going to have feral cats that are neutered, or those that aren't? Sure. Bill Van Handel.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Actually, I got involved then in 2 discussions, but we'll get in reference to my discussion. And I would suggest that my comments are preemptive and anticipatory, but then again, issues were brought up last meeting that I would like to continue the discussion. And I think there's a lot of wisdom to getting into the discussion sooner than later. My comments relate to the last city council meeting on March 11th. Under new business on the agenda, item 5, a no action item, it was a discussion by the Airport Advisory Committee recommendation to create an airport overlay zone. In the spirit of positive acknowledgement, I want to thank Councilwoman Garvey for questioning if the current reemergence of the airport overlay discussion and proposal is nothing more than a rehash of the same issues discussed and set aside 3 years ago. She stated that she did have records of the previous discussion. Also, on a very positive note, Councilman Brennan requested from Ian Morcott, a member of the Airport Advisory Committee, more specificity and scope about the current proposal to put additional land use restrictions on private property and the anticipated pushback from property owners. And again, in the spirit of fairness and giving the benefit of the doubt to the two current council members that had not been elected yet, when the airport overlay discussion took place 3 years ago, I am encouraged by Councilwoman Workla's recent acknowledgement of the benefits of interest of industry coming to Mountain Home. And I'm anxious to hear if this support includes industry coming to citizens' private property. And my further comments, I think, will bring this together, bring it into focus of why I'm sitting here tonight. Councilman Harjo indicated he had extensive discussion with Tom Hogue about the airport overlay concept, which I'm all about. Let's talk. I want to thank him for directly referencing my property. And that's property I originally purchased 46 years ago. And that is located on the northeast corner of Air Base Road in Elmcrest. I take particular exception to using a hypothetical example of a 5-story structure being built on my property. Both FAA height restrictions of 35 feet and Mountain Home height restrictions of 30 feet are factored into any and all conceptual plans for this property. To project a height example that would be an obvious violation of current regulation is, in my opinion, blatantly disingenuous for an example. It's not going to happen as long as I own that property, because that would be illegal. And that part of the argument is going to be heard not only tonight, but my effort is to question the additional overlaying, for lack of a better word, of additional regulations that already are covered. Obviously, this property will be developed in the scope of existing regulation. And what I'm trying to do is get a disciplined and productive conversation on all fronts. Several other stunning examples, I thought, of biased discourse where a reference to airport overlay is a no-brainer. I'm sitting here contesting the issue. Words do mean things. And his intent to attack the overlay project and get it through. So in summation, I will close with these 2 points. A request that City Council members review the records, maps, related information, and the legal guidance from 3 years ago when the airport overlay project was set aside. And my other request is that both the Airport Advisory Committee and City Council in their discussions clearly differentiate between managing development and expansion on the airport property versus managing development through land use restrictions on private property outside of the airport property. And that was highlighted by the example used. So I look forward to having further discussion, and I would hope that this issue is fully vetted with the public, and I assume there will be others that will be here to defend their private property rights.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
I was trying to get in there with the lost pause, but I missed.
You're all good.
I'm Crystal Moore. I actually live in the county, but I am all for the TNR. I actually have one that was feral, and we trapped her, got her spayed, and by the time we got her spayed, she was already pregnant again. So I'm glad we caught her while we did. She does live outside, but I'm kind of speaking for the animals. The cruelty is unbelievable that I've seen on Facebook, that I've seen everywhere in the city. I'm gonna cry because just the other night, someone throwing 2-liter bottles at these poor cats, just for fun. And we just gotta get the population under hand and under control, and I do agree with him. You know, it is hard when you have the animals that you don't want around and they're destroying your property and stuff. But these animals have no voices. If we can find places for them, we will. But they definitely have to be neutered and spayed to help the population in the diseases. But there's even a guy in the trailer park, and I'm trying to get more information on it, that he traps them and he immediately kills them. And he doesn't care whether they're pets or not. I had one of the people that lives in the trailer message me. She's scared to come forward, scared she won't have a place to live because of this. But we just have to get the population under control and someone speak up for these poor animals that are being abused, and that it was no fault of their own on some of these. They were abandoned. They just threw them away in trash because they moved away. That's an example. I mean, I've also seen, I live out there, people come out to the county and dump dogs. They dump cats. They just dump them like trash, and we just got to get a handle on this animal cruelty and try and figure out a solution that works out for everybody. So it doesn't hurt residents, it doesn't hurt businesses. But we can't, they're just going to continue to breed and breed and breed, and then it's just going to be more and more of an issue. So if we're in there helping, I don't see what the issue is. And I understand, like, what he's saying, you know, they're on the property and stuff, but if I know Shannon and Beverly go out of their way to try and find places for these cats, so we can help. But I don't want to see it on Facebook of animals being tortured. So I just, please, hope that we can find a solution for our city, even though I live in the county, but I'm still an animal lover and I don't want to see this. I don't. Thank you. I'm sorry for crying.
Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Sorry. Beverly King. So just to follow up on some of this stuff, like right now we did a TNR over the weekend. We did, somebody reached out to us. Somebody that worked for the sheriff's department had moved out and left their 2 indoor cats abandoned outside, unfixed. So these cats obviously were going to start multiplying, but we did trap them, and they're now with me. So I have them. We're going to get them into, so I'm fostering them, and we're going to get them into a home or into Simply Cats. But that's part of the problem. People are moving or being evicted or whatnot, leaving their unfixed cats behind outside that used to be house cats, and that's where some of the population starts to go. So we're finding that a lot of people are moving but not taking their cats with them, leaving them abandoned to multiply. That's what's happening in the cities with all the cats. So I just wanted to state that. And apparently the neighbor did try to turn them in to get something done about it, and nothing was done. And this person, we were told, worked for the sheriff's department.
Come on down.
In reference to the gentleman that seriously has a nuisance problem with the feral cats, I just want to know if TNR isn't acceptable to them being released back to, like, say, his place. If it's a nuisance, why isn't the shelter picking those cats up? I mean, that is part of their job if we have a nuisance ordinance, right? So I just want to know, what is the shelters, what's their part in this? What are they doing to try to solve the issue? That's it.
Can
Thank
you
you.
state your name for me?
Oh, Larisse Akers.
Thank you.
Nisha Merriman. I just want to answer on behalf of what we're doing on our property. We actually did go to the pet shelter, and they told us that it's actually illegal for people to feed cats outside of their property, which is what is happening. It's actually on city property, and they gave us a live trap so that we can actually catch these cats on our property, and they will come pick the cats up. So I just wanted to clarify that we have been, and they have assisted us. Okay.
Thanks, Nisha. Decker.
I actually had no intention of doing this evening. But with the current I'm Decker Sanders. I just wanted to relay to the council a personal experience in this question that's gotten so much attention this evening. My wife and I made it a point several years back to make our yard a habitat that would attract a lot of the wild birds. And in fact, now I've got about 40 pair of quail that come to visit us each year that nest in our evergreen trees and then take off to go have their babies, and hopefully within a few weeks we'll see the little ones coming back because they keep coming back like salmon. And they have a predator. And they had one, and it was a cat. It did go after my Yorkshire once, and I trapped it once and turned it into the city because I used their trap. 4 months later, it was back, the exact same cat, and a trap was not available from the city, so I trapped it myself, borrowing one from a rancher friend of mine, a live trap, took it into animal control to turn it in, was asked never to do that again, to always come through them first so they could ensure they had a place for the cat to be when it was successfully trapped, and to only use their traps. I bring this to you just for everybody's information, that there is a limit on the holding ability of any humane center. So if you're looking for other solutions, you've got a variety of them here, and my guess is at some point you'll figure out it's going to take a mix of all of them to get a handle on the current problem. Nobody's going to like the fix in every form. It's just not going to be possible. And it's going to be emotional, as evidenced here. But just so you guys know, if I, as a homeowner, trap an animal myself that's on my property, I don't have the assurance that it can be taken over by the city if the city's shelter is full.
Thanks, Decker. Anybody else? Going once? Going twice? Thank you. Thank you. We're going to run down to conflict of interest declaration. Has any council member received information pertaining to or otherwise any conflict with any other person regarding any items on the city council agenda? If so, please set forth of the nature of contact.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
I did get a message to my private Facebook page, personal Facebook page regarding TNR from a gentleman named Les. And I've emailed the text of that over to the city clerk, yourself, and the attorney to enter it for public record.
Okay. Thank you. Hearing none. Oh, Councilman Brennan?
Just for the record, I've had written correspondence with Terry Manduca, Paula Riggs, and Marcella Truba about the golf fees. Actually, new business number 2. Just general questions about their last presentation to the council. Doesn't create a bias with me at all.
Copy that. Okay, we're going to roll down to the consent agenda. It's a real big one, council. I think a total of 4 things. Anything you want to change, amend, pull, talk about in a little bit more depth? If
Mayor.
Councilwoman Workla?
Yeah, hi. I don't want to pull D. Can you just explain a little bit more on what this resolution will be for? Just in layman's terms. Yeah, we got a whole bunch of legalese in front of us, but also just for the citizens to understand why we would approve this resolution.
I'll take that one, Tiff.
Yeah, Mayor, Councilwoman Workla, to answer your question, the resolutions, because the date of the interim financing for the LAD has expired, and so while we're closing it out, we have to extend that date, is the purpose of with clarification to the previous resolution.
Thank you.
All right, council. Any other questions, comments, or
Mayor?
Councilman Harjo?
I had a brief discussion via email with Tiffany regarding a change via interlineation to the meeting minutes from the 3/11 agenda, new business item number 2, paragraph 4 of that made a statement that misquotes the speaker at the time, and I can read the desired amended text that is accurate to the proceedings that will replace that segment. After these discussions, Mountain Home School District notified the city and the base that they would pursue the Stevenson project, which was relayed to the 2 charters, and that was the end of it, making sure that our contractor was not misquoted.
Okay. Hearing that, council, with the interlineation change, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the change?
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda, changing through interlineation the verbiage that Councilman Harjo mentioned in our minutes on March 11th.
Second.
2025.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
Councilwoman Workla?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
All right. Well, we're going to run down to old business. There was none. We're going to run down to new business. Items removed. There was none on number 1. And then we're going to run down to action item number 2, the deliberation decision regarding resolution 08-2025R, providing clarification to 2025 golf fees. All right. Who wants to take that one? Woman Garvey?
Mayor? As council, as you guys can see,
Provide clarification to 2025 golf fees.
what's happening? The only changes that were made to this is now weekday passes are Monday through Friday and not Monday through Thursday, as they always have been. We've changed that. And then the other thing that we were asking to change, or we had a meeting about it, was concerning how league play was paid out. If you're a season pass holder and you play a tournament, how it's paid out to the person that's putting on the tournament. So I don't really have anything else to add to this. I mean, I think we had a great meeting, and I think everybody was okay with that.
I agree. Good meeting, great dialogue, and I think we all came to consensus. And just for clarification, didn't we change the Thursday, Monday through Thursday, because TJ wanted it changed? That was the thing. Because did we have a discussion about that or no?
No. So the problem, the glaring problem in the room was that one website said weekday passes are Monday through Friday. One website said it was Monday through Thursday. Then you go and you look at the ordinance, and up top it says Monday through Friday, but on the ordinance itself, on the bottom, it says Monday through Thursday. And so it was just, it needed to be clarified. And so it has always been, and I always hate to say it's always been that way, but it's always been weekday, Monday through Friday. So that's what I've been told. I don't know.
I can, man.
Go ahead, Tiff.
We did some digging and found that between 2019 and 2021 season, that funky language at the top became apparent on every resolution from that 2020 date forward. So, which clarified that weekday was Monday through Thursday, and the weekend was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and holidays. So,
perfect.
Prior to 2019, a weekday was Monday through Friday. But then after that, it picked up.
In the meeting, our discussion, thank you for that, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Our discussion was, it was kind of let's honor it, because it is not clear, and so many people have already purchased these weekday passes, or we need to offer a refund system because they didn't know that.
Right.
And so that was the big one on that one. And then I thought, in our discussion in our meeting, is that next year when you guys are sitting up here, you guys can change it, but you need to let season pass holders know before they purchase their passes, because that kind of hit them out of the blue, that they can't golf on Fridays. And then the season passes, they do cover the league play. We discussed that.
Yep.
And it covers your tournaments, so you're not paying twice.
Yeah. So I think the greens fees go to the not-for-profit is what we agreed to.
Yes.
Well,
instead of the city.
The group, yeah, the group. Was that Councilman Harjo? Was that the consensus? I think that's what it was, right? The group says, okay, no, the charitable organization gets that because they still pay their greens fee, but it goes to the charitable organization.
Correct. If you're a season pass holder and you play in X tournament, then you still pay the whole amount. You still pay greens fees.
Right.
However, when it gets paid out and reconciled in the end, it gets reconciled to that. You mark the season pass holders in a special column. The city doesn't realize anything on them because they've already paid to golf.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Because and just for clarification for the people that don't know, on our season pass, it says excluding tournament play. So we're going to have to have them bring back their pass so we can take that off. Right. That was the Councilman Brennan.
I was hoping I could add to that discussion about the definition of Friday, or where it falls in the definition of weekdays and weekends. And I remember clearly, like it was yesterday almost, that it was TJ that came to the city council and recommended that we move Friday to being defined as weekend play. And the council followed suit with his recommendation at the time. And to further that, in my email correspondence that I declared earlier with Terry Manduca, she confirmed in email that Tiffany has a copy of for the record, that TJ himself confirmed that he suggested charging weekend rate on Friday. But her email says specifically to transient golfers to drive additional revenue to the city. And that was a 2019 discussion for a 2020 implementation. And I would like to stick to the keeping that Friday is defined as weekend play, and make that decision. Not delay that decision, but even if we, whatever way the vote goes, maybe make a exception for this year, but actually correct the resolution.
Mayor.
So we do refunds. Council, excuse me, Councilman Garvey.
Councilman Brennan, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, so you're half correct and you're half quite not there. So, okay, there's two different things that we're talking about here. So, okay, yes. Historically, if I went to go play and I didn't hold a season pass and I was going on a Friday, that was considered weekend rates, period. Okay, so that's still going forward. That's still how we're operating. That's how we've been operating. What I'm talking about is the weekday pass. So people have the option to purchase the weekday pass and they can golf Monday through Friday. That's a totally separate pass. So it's still going to, do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm tracking you. I don't know why they're defined differently.
Because it's next year it needs to be cleared up. But it's two different types of it's me going to go play and I'm not a season pass holder and it's a Friday. I'm going to pay weekend rates. That's always how it's been. So that's still remaining in effect. It's just the weekday passes that got kind of murky.
So there's a unlimited pass, and then there's a weekday pass that you can purchase.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right.
So councilmen, or council members. So where are we going? I guess.
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo.
I think out of that meeting, we had a lot of clarification on the process and procedure, as well as the limited amount of exception that we're going to make to rectify unclear verbiage on both our passes, the resolution, and so on. Right? Coming out of that meeting, I think the understanding was, to summarize, that weekday pass was going to count Monday through Friday. The adult unlimited pass is good for and counts towards your tournament play and your league play. The weekday pass also counts towards weeknight or weekday league play.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Despite how some of the language conflicts with itself, that was the consensus coming out of that meeting, that those items will work in that fashion, even if it doesn't say it expressly on the hard card. And that city staff would administer it that way out at the golf course. Was there any others, Councilwoman Garvey, that I missed in that?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I think that was those, or Mayor.
Councilwoman Garvey.
Those were the big items that were just needed to be clarified for sure.
Mm-hmm. So, sorry, Councilwoman Garvey. So this year we're just gonna do it the Monday through Friday, leave it alone. But then next year we'll bring it back up and make sure it's more clarified for everybody going into the next season. Is that what we're saying? Or are we doing it now?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Garvey.
It's kind of like the analogy that I used in our meeting. It's like, okay, if I'm at Albertsons and I go and I'm purchasing whatever, chips, and they say they're on sale, and I go and I get rung up and they're like, oh, no, the sale ended like 3 days ago. They honor it, right? Mm-hmm. This is kind of the same principle. Like, we didn't have... Unfortunately, we didn't have everything clear, and a lot of people purchased based on how they've known for however many years, 2019, 2020, it doesn't really matter. So I feel strongly that this year we should honor it because, let's face it, the golf course has had some troubles, and we need to get that golf course up and running, and we don't want to make people more mad. So, just my 2 cents.
Mayor.
So, Councilman Harjo?
Sorry, one last thing. We did also then define twilight fees will begin 2 hours before sunset, 7 days a week. But also with the caveat that that's always subject to the golf ops managers input.
That's right. I did ask about that.
Okay. So council, what do you want to do?
Mayor, I would like to approve the deliberation decision regarding resolution 08-2025R, providing clarification of the 2025 golf fees as written in our new schedule.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion?
Mayor?
Councilman Brennan?
Question for Tiffany. Is this a resolution that has to come back annually, or is it only mandated to come back if we want to change the fees?
Correct. If you want to amend the fees, the resolution will come back.
And if we don't, then we don't have to see it again.
Correct.
Okay, well, I would like to see it done differently, but I'll go with the motion as it is, but just stating for the record that I will ask for it to come back to the council if that occurs before January of 2026.
Okay. Copy that. All right. There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. Councilwoman Workala?
Aye.
Councilman Brennan?
Aye.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Aye.
Councilman Harjo?
Aye.
All right. All right. Run down to action item number 3 in new business. Deliberation decision regarding the cooperative agreement between Elmore County and the city regarding animal control center, and authorize the mayor and the city clerk and the chief of police to sign. Council? What do you want to do?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Councilman Brennan and Councilwoman Workla, I'm not sure, I sent you guys the red edits. Did you guys get those?
Yes.
Okay, so that, I finally was able to get the opinion of legal. Those were his changes, otherwise he said it looks good. So I know that Chief Thompson had some changes, and so did Councilman Brennan. But otherwise, this MOU passed legal's sniff test. I had to say that.
So with that, council, what do you want to do?
Mayor.
Councilman Harjo?
Councilwoman Garvey, we briefly discussed the addition of adding language, like business language regarding invoicing and due dates. If that's something that we can have legal add a passage with the suggestions of our clerk and our treasurer of when that's appropriate and what cadence, that would be my only suggestion for an addition, is just clarify the business of that.
Go ahead.
Mayor.
Councilwoman Garvey?
So this is where I think that, which yes, can be super easily added. We just need to figure out how they're gonna bill. And I can change that language. Whether it's monthly, quarterly. Quarterly would probably be even easier, but that's not my wheelhouse. So whatever you guys figure out.
Yearly is probably
Sorry, I'm
easier.
looking at you, Paula, too. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. And it's not something we've talked about yet, but
Whatever the council's decision is what we'll follow.
I think yearly would be easier, though. Just send one bill, boom. No? You want to do it quarterly?
Well,
Hang on a second.
when you do it yearly, then you have outstanding revenue for your audit.
yeah.
Oh,
You wanna do that.
copy
it needs
that.
to be done quarterly, I think.
So
At the
quarterly's
minimum-
better?
At the minimum.
Yeah, I think we do other quarterlies, so.
Okay. So quarterly it is. Councilman Brennan?
Sorry, it's getting hard to hear Councilwoman Garvey kind of getting quiet in the conversation. But and as something that the council discussed, and I think Councilman Harjo asked for on an agenda item, which is I may not say it right, but some type of intergovernmental agreement with the county where we can equally waive fees on both directions. I'd like that to stay in our mind as we make the decision on billing, so that if that is something that comes to fruition, we can basically give notice of the cost and then waive it if they waive, in equal value towards us or something to that effect. Does that make sense to y'all?
Mayor.
Yes, sir. Councilwoman Garvey?
Councilman Brennan, we've always charged a nominal. It was the last MOU I read. It was $3,000, and we've always charged that in an effort to probably recoup some of the costs that we get or have. Because I think, legal has to be sometimes asked questions that cost us a lot of money. The other thing I wanted to point out, and I never did get, this is just a total sidebar, I never did get the will. But Tiffany and I, yeah, and I understand it's buried. I get it totally. But just for the history that probably a lot of people don't realize is that the Mountain Home Animal Shelter was built pretty much primarily on a will that was left by a lady who wanted Elmore County to be taken care of. And so it's kind of. She left $650,000 to the city of Mountain Home and to the county to build this animal shelter, and she's probably really upset right now, having all this arguments. So I think we need to remember, we didn't build this on our taxpayers' backs. So I think we just need to resolve this and close the book.
Go ahead, Ted.
I just want to.
Matt?
Hang on one second. Tiff's talking.
I completely understand the intergovernmental agreement between waiving of fees. However, when we're talking the animal shelter and then a building department fee, those are completely two different pots. And as staff, that's going to get really messy, and I can guarantee our auditors are not going to really like it. So as we move through some of that, I would really caution you a little bit on that.
It would need to come back to the council.
Yeah.
Staff can't make that decision.
Right. Councilman Brennan?
Can I ask a clarification to Chief Thompson on a section on the agreement?
Yeah, come on down, Chief, so I can hear you. All right, yeah, Chief.
Chief, appreciate you coming up. I'm just trying to find out. You left some notes trying to figure out your intent for your request from changing from 3 dogs to 3 kennels. I didn't quite get a response from you. Can you help me understand what you're asking for?
I'm not sure when you asked for that response, but I'm happy to answer the question. The 3 kennels, it was changed to 3 kennels from 3 dogs. If we have a situation where the county brings in 3 dogs from one household, typically those dogs are housed in the same kennel. I don't think the intent is to restrict the county from other kennels. If a second household has to bring in a dog or there's a second impound, they're housed in a second kennel. The intent is not to restrict kennel space necessarily. We have to have some kennels available for them. The language has changed from 3 dogs to 3 kennels, which actually opens up access to the county.
I appreciate that. Is that saying that you'll leave 3 kennels up to and no more than 3 kennels, or just at times there may not be any kennels?
At times there may not be any kennels. It's based on overall availability. If there are 3 kennels available for county use, we will certainly have county dogs there, but that's dependent on city dogs coming in first.
Okay, all right. You answered my question. I appreciate it.
All right, council. With the changes, what do you guys want to do?
Mayor?
Councilwoman Garvey.
Councilman Harjo. I will figure out the best course of where to add that language. I will email it out, and I will clean up the copies so you don't have blue and red. And I just wanted you guys to see what I changed, what I struck out, what I took out of there. Some was more as just a language. I got clarification from legal. I didn't care for a word, but it's legal talk, I guess. So anyway, other than that, I think it's pretty ready to go. Other than the edits.
A motion?
Okay, yes. I'll make a motion to approve the cooperative agreement, the MOU with the animal shelter, Mountain Home Animal Shelter in Elmore County and the city of Mountain Home, with the edits pending to be delivered, and then we will send it to the county.
Councilman Brennan? Sorry.
Sorry, I'm stuck on that. I appreciate the kennel space versus dogs versus kennels. I really like that. But I think I feel like there's a way that we can be good stewards of our own citizens and our own citizens' dogs, but also have some like a guaranteed space available. That's probably the wrong word, but reserving a few kennels for potential county animals rather than only if they're not full by city animals can they come in. I'd like to see some more attention on that or time spent on that before approval.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Councilman Brennan?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? That language is not even in this current MOU. It's not in there currently.
What do you?
Go ahead, Councilman Brennan.
It's
pulling it up here.
It's Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman Garvey.
It's struck out. If you look at the bottom of 3A, I struck it out. The city agrees to hold up to no more than 3 dogs at any time for the county. It's gone. And then I added, per the chief's request, and I'm sorry, that is really hard to read. And I wrote this, if the Mountain Home Animal Shelter is at capacity, the county understands that this agreement is based on overall availability of space. I took out the 3 dogs, I took out the 3 kennels. I just said it's just if they have the capacity. Can you read that?
Yeah, that's the.
Go ahead.
I'm trying to go between tabs. That's the highlighted in blue portion that you put in there.
Yes, and then Mayor.
Go ahead, you're good.
And then Schroeder rewrote it in red.
Right.
That's what he had suggested. So I guess I need to make sure. Do you want me to add that back in? Do you want me to take it out?
Well, so I'm trying to track all the emails here. Let me pull this one back up again. So the chief asked for the change on 3A, which I support, although I don't think I'm supporting it exactly the way he's thinking. I would like to see some kind of guaranteed space for the county. Like the city can be full minus 2 or 3 kennels, and those 2 or 3 kennels are reserved for the county. But once they're full from county animals, we're full. I'd like to see that there's at least some space set aside for them.
You want to say something, Chief? Hang on one second.
I think the revision we put in there saying that we'd give up to 3 kennels is more than sufficient. It is a city facility staffed by city employees. It's here for the benefit of the city. We are granting those 3 kennels up to the 3 kennels for county dogs. Staff does not want to get in a position where all of a sudden we are flooded with more county dogs where we can't take in city dogs and service our citizens.
Mayor.
Hang on one second. Councilman Harjo.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I skipped one. Go ahead, sir.
Mayor, thank you. I think we're all dancing around the same aspect, and it's just a matter of wording the intent, right? Reserving the 3 kennels is logical from an operations perspective. It does offer space. The other portions of the contract also promote fairly short duration of stay while these animals are managed kind of in partnership and handoff between Elmore County Sheriff's Department and Mountain Home Animal Control. if we can reserve 3 kennels, that I think there's probably some leeway to be had there, that if 3 kennels are kept open and available for the county, in Chief Thompson's language, if there are no city animals in the moment and a deputy pulls up with a household of 3 more dogs and they've got animals in the 3 kennels that were set aside, are we going to turn the county away in that scenario? I don't know that that's conducive to the community if there is space. I do like the language that that 3 kennels will be kept open and available for the county. And I would be happy to see that inserted.
Councilwoman Garvey?
I don't have anything.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Council, anything else?
Mayor.
Councilwoman Garvey?
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Is that language okay with you?
Whatever Councilman Harjo just said, it sounded like he's in agreement with me. It is a little difficult to tell, but I support that.
I will
if
rewrite.
It's the same language.
Perfect. I will rewrite and send that out. Okay.
So you want to amend your motion? Or do you want to scratch that motion, like a second, we just start out a new one?
Well, no, I mean, because I'm going to have edits anyway.
Right. Oh, touche.
Yeah. This is not the final draft. So.
Okay. So Council, Becky's motion was to send out the final draft with all the changes, but here moving forward, voting on here moving forward, I guess. So are you all copacetic?
Mayor?
Councilman Harjo?
Before offering a second question for Tiff, in the procedural requirements, with edits coming back, in your experience, do we need to bring that back in its full and complete state, or do we, with the minor edits that I think we have, and just reinserting some of the notes that have been seen and seemingly approved in some sense or informally, that we need to bring this back on another agenda in a complete form?
I think bringing it back would probably be cleaner, because then the citizens can see, you know what I mean? Because when you guys are popping those, they can do public records requests, but until they see the final. So, is that copacetic?
Mayor.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and then legal can
Yeah.
give its final blessing.
There you go.
That's probably the best way.
Okay. So, council, we're gonna, I'm gonna push this to the next council meeting. All right, Councilwoman Workla, you had final comments?
Thank you, yes. So I want to add to the April 22nd agenda to discuss on possibly implementing a city ordinance for TNR. I want it about a month out, so that gives legal some time to research the state law concern, as was mentioned earlier.
Was that 12th?
She said the 22nd.
22nd. Okay. All right. Council, what else you guys got? All right. Hearing none, meeting adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. How do I hit that?
All right.
There's a red button. These fancy phones.
Yeah, this one's going to be